G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/EntitledParents. Now if you're ready for some bloody good Karen stories, I want you to sit back, relax, chug a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good stories. That's all there is to say, thank you. Posted by user, Feeling Better Today. Titled, My sister-in-law tried to hijack my son's birthday for her gender reveal party. My husband and I have 2 children, both boys, now aged 11 and 14. My husband's younger sister now has 3 children, aged 7, 5, and 3. The year my youngest son, let's shorten to YS for the story, was turning 4, he asked for a birthday party. He was not yet in school, and he did not know anyone but family, and there were no children other than his brother that were able to attend. Luckily, his favorite people in the world are Grandpa and Gma, Dad's parents. Gma is like a big kid. She's super fun and energetic. She acts much like a kid herself, and my boys adore her. I knew they were very busy, so I asked them several months in advance if they could attend his birthday party. The party was to be on his birthday. This is important. Being the wonderful grandparents they are, they agreed and requested that time off from their jobs. We also invited all close-by family, including my sister-in-law, the entitled mother of the story. Months go by, and it's now about a week and a half before my son's big day. I've bought the decorations, planned the menu, and pumped him up. I like to sing a final countdown song as I prepare breakfast in the morning. One afternoon, I receive a call from my sister-in-law who's about to find out the sex of her baby. She's pregnant with baby number 1. She wants to plan a gender reveal party, but she's called her friends and family and discovered that most work and can't attend without several weeks' notice for their jobs. The only day everyone just so happens to have off is my son's birthday. Would I be willing to move my son's birthday to another day so she can have her party? At this point, it may bear mentioning that she already has 3 baby showers planned and has asked me to make the food, out of pocket, for one of the showers. Most people being asked to attend her gender reveal party were already attending multiple baby showers for her. I am pretty friendly and passive. This caught me very off guard. I tried to gently tell her that my son was looking forward to this, and we've had it planned for months, which is why everyone had it off from work. She feigned sympathy, but still urged me to please move my son's birthday party to a time that everyone could later attend, and let her have this open date for her party for her first baby, while you've already had 2. Besides, youngest son loves babies, and would want to go to her party too. He could still come to my party and see everyone he loves, and then get to do it all over again when everyone can request time off. I didn't have time to gather a response as she steamrolled over me saying, "Okay, if they want to go, I won't make them come to youngest son's party, but I can't go to your party. We have plans." And her responding, "Thanks." I was angry. She had pulled this kind of thing with other people before. I have tons of stories. But she had always really loved my boys and never tried this with me. Or not to this extreme anyway. I didn't know how to react other than vent to my husband, her brother, who wasn't surprised at all and said not to worry and that their dad would set her straight. Funny enough, I was talking to my husband when I saw him, father-in-law, calling my phone. I answered, and he said that my sister-in-law had told him I had no problem with her hijacking my son's birthday, and I had insisted she have the party and everyone go to that one instead of the youngest son's. He said if this was true, that he would attend her party, but he would way rather go to the party of youngest son. He's already gotten presents, and they were excited about celebrating a kid that's already here on his big day. I very happily told him that I was never going to cancel his birthday to make him sit through someone else's party on his big day. I mean, he's 4, and I've been counting down for him every morning. What kind of monster would I be? I said that I had told sister-in-law that people could go to that if they preferred, but that we wouldn't be attending. He said that sounds about right and told her he's going to the youngest son's party since he requested time off for that, and if she wants another party another day to give him notice. She cancelled, or never organised, the party, and then talked about me behind my back to anyone that would listen for years to follow. Posted by user Constipated Chicken, titled, Racist Entitled Mother Starts Fight for 50p Ice Cream. Apologies for the long story, but this was on New Year's Day, and much to my dismay, I had to work a whopping 8-hour shift selling 50p hot dogs and ice cream, or 64 cents for y'all USD people. Point is, thankfully the store was closing 8 p.m. instead of the usual 10 p.m. for the sake of it being New York. At 8 p.m, I rushed to cut off the queue of people, which was met by the usual, "Please, I just want one thing. Surely you can let one more in?" However, on this fateful night, entitled mother appears out of nowhere and asks me whether her daughter can have an ice cream. Mind you, there is no sight of a child with her. At this point, the ice cream machines are already being turned off, and I had already rejected quite a few people who used the same excuses. And so it wouldn't be fair to the other people if I let her in and not them. And so I politely explained to her that the queue was closed a while ago and that I couldn't let anyone in. She exploded. "It's New Year's Day, and you won't let my daughter have an ice cream?" I continued to politely explain to her the same thing. "Oh, this is ridiculous. You are so selfish. It's only one ice cream, you won't get fired for it, what's the big deal?" She keeps screaming at my face. Once again, I explained to her the simple fact of how opening and closing hours work. She yells more obscenities at me and walks up to the family, who are the last people in the queue. Essentially, she paid them cash in exchange for them ordering for her. And whilst doing so, she insults me loudly in front of me, whilst giving me snide looks and glares. For context, I am Asian. The last straw was when she pulled her eyes back doing that. Yeah, that Asian mocking thing. All whilst insulting me right in front of me, how I ruined her day, how I'm an a-hole, yada yada yada. I'm fuming at this point, but because rent is a priority, I go back behind the counter where my manager is serving the last customers. When the last customers are served, entitled mother runs up to the counter to badmouth me to my manager, complaining that I was being rude, didn't have manners, providing bad customer service, blah blah blah. My boyfriend, fortunately, was working with me on the same day and was serving at the counter alongside my manager. As the entitled mother is ranting about me, he tells her maybe she should be the one to learn a thing or two about manners, and hence the crap show begins as she yells at both of us, cursing and flipping us off. My manager kindly asks her to get out. Unfortunately, she did get her ice cream, and unfortunately, I encountered many more entitled mother and entitled parent scenarios like that. And unfortunately, racist encounters are frequent and usual for me. But oh well, systemic racism just adds more broth for the EMEP stories. Smiley face. Posted by user ElephantTurtle85, titled, It's Your Fault I Vomited on Your Baby. First time poster, so sorry if I do it wrong. Key information. I, 24 female, have a diagnosed phobia of children, especially babies drool. I'll gag and even throw up if one touches me. Unfortunately, no one ever believes this. This happened when I was about 16 in a shopping centre. So me and my mum were out shopping for groceries, and my mum's friend Karen shows up with her baby. They're small talking, and I step back and start looking at something on a shelf to avoid looking at the baby, since it's drooling, and if I see it, I'll start gagging, which is always awkward and embarrassing. Karen asks me to hold her baby for God knows what reason. I decline, saying I've never held one and it's unsafe. She then starts to walk over with the drooling nightmare, so I start backing away and I gag. She says, "Ew, why did you gag? My baby isn't disgusting, what the hell is wrong with you?" Mum says, "Oh, she's weird with germs. It doesn't matter, I'll hold her." Karen then starts on a rant about how she wants me to hold her, and I'm being dramatic. She starts getting closer to me, and I start gagging more dramatically, my eyes watering and everything at this point. The more I gag, the louder and angrier she gets. The closer she gets, and the worse I get. At this point, she's right in front of me, and I'm backed against a shelf. My mum tries to defuse the situation, but Karen's holding a baby, so what the F can mum really do? Eventually, she pushes the child too close to me. It's sobbing at this point. A bit of saliva from the sobbing gets on me, and I projectile vomit my breakfast all over Karen and her baby. She starts screaming hysterically. My mum laughs hysterically, and I am just unbelievably embarrassed, so I run to the bathroom to clean up. Posted by user I the Legend. Titled, Entitled Mum Takes My Quad Keys Again. Car star, me, dad, entitled mum, and B1 and B2 both are the kids. So, I have a quad. It's kinda messed up due to my sister crashing on it. Before, I had my keys taken by an entitled parents. Now I got the keys back, I kept riding. This was a week ago when I posted this. Note that there was some police involved. So I was riding my quad, and my house is about 10 yards in length from the neighborhood road. I like to set boundaries for me to ride my quad on the roads. I know, this might be illegal, but not if you get caught. My house is in front of another road, and the road goes downhill, and in the fall, it's covered in leaves. I like to ride down the road, and sometimes make sure it's in good conditions, because crashes had happened here before. I was going down for the first time of the day, and I come across this mother and her two, I guess 6-year-olds or 8-year-olds. I ride down, and then come back up, and I was going slow because I knew they were going up the hill. My neighborhood is known for track runners and others to jog around because it has 2 circles in each other, like a Venn diagram. When I went up, she was just staring at me, but I didn't think anything about it. I then rode in my yard for a bit until they came up, then I went down again for fun. A little bit later, I went down, then came back up, but this time the lady was at the top to go back down with her kids, and this time she had her hand out for me to stop. I slowed down in a rush because I was about to pass her. I take my helmet off and she starts yelling at me for the way I am riding. So the dialogue begins. She says, "Why are you riding so recklessly?" I was never riding recklessly. Yes, you were. You were driving around in that person's yard up and down a road. Quad's still running and I say, "So?" Also, it's my dad's house and yard. Entitled mother walks over, turns off my quad and takes my keys. Me, while trying to put my quad in park, say, "Hey, that's my property." I got off my quad to get the keys off of her. And she says, "It's mine, you deaf kid." This is when I started to think about the last time, and realized that it is the same one from the last story. I say, "Didn't you steal my keys before?" She says, "Maybe, deaf invalid." You know, my dad said I can file a police report. This is when I saw that the entitled mother had went into a small panic. Entitled mother, while shoving me away from the quad, says, "If I can't have this quad, then no one can." This is when the entitled mother started to try and start my quad up. I then went over and pressed the switch that kills the engine until the switch is turned off. While doing this, the entitled mother cranked over the quad. While this was happening, I just wanted to protect my property, so I pushed entitled mother off of my quad, and she fell onto the concrete, and that is when I got my keys back. The kids that were being quiet about this started crying and hitting me. I tried to get away on the quad, but the mum started to try to get the keys again. I then took the keys and ran to my house and called 911. I told them about the situation, then called for my mum and told her what was going on. I went to check on the situation, and the entitled mother has the kids on the back of the quad, and she was trying to pick lock the quad with a hairpin, which wouldn't work. I then took photos and videos of her trying, and then when the police came, I told them about her trying to take my quad and her kids assaulting me. I showed them the photos and videos and bite marks on the left side of my chest. The entitled mother got arrested, and I was given a warning about riding on the roads. Posted by user Fred Z Red. Titled, Revenge on My Abusive Mother. She never knew it was me responsible for the clink. This happened in 2004, when I was 14. A bit of backstory before I begin. My mother is not a good person. She was verbally abusive for most of my life until I was 14, when her abuse turned physical. Because of her abuse, I came up with creative ways to punish her in my own petty ways, like tampering with her food and dunking her toothbrush in the toilet every day. This story is one of my better petty revenges towards her, and the one that annoyed her the most. So I talked to my friends about the things she did to me, and although I appreciated the advice to go to the police, I knew that wouldn't work. My mother is very convincing when she wants to be, and every other time when I went to the police, they never believed me. One of my friends, who we'll call Tom, gave me a brilliant idea that would annoy her to no end, but wouldn't get me in trouble. His dad is a mechanic, so Tom knows his ways around a car. After school that day, I went with him to his house. He showed me a place underneath the car, between the top of the front wheel and the side of the engine, and told me what to do. Bring on the pettiness. I had to wait a few days to enact my revenge, but the day finally arrived. My mother and my sister left the house to ride their horses, which gave me plenty of time to do what needed to be done. The next day, I went with my mum and sister to do grocery shopping, and I was elated to hear the product of my labor as the car started to drive down the driveway. Clink, clink, clink. Yes, dear readers, I attached a rock to the end of a string inside the car that made a loud clink sound every few seconds when the car was moving. Mum says, "What the heck is that?" No idea. Maybe you should get the mechanic to have a look at it. Remember how I said that Tom's dad is a mechanic? Yeah, well, he's the only mechanic in the town we lived at, and Tom made sure to tell his dad about the things my mother did to me. Needless to say, he was on my side. So after we had done our shopping, we stopped at the mechanic so they could look at it and fix whatever needed fixing. Mum, as we arrived at the mechanic, says, "Hi there. Well, my car is making a weird noise when I'm driving. Can you look at it for me?" And the mechanic says, "Sure thing. How about you take a seat inside and I'll give it a drive and see what the problem is?" He got in the car and drove it around the block. When he returned, the noise had miraculously stopped. He charged my mum for the check and we were on our way. But not before Tom's dad subtly handed me the rock back and gave me a wink and a smile as I left. That night, I put the rock back in place and left it to do its thing for the next day. And oh boy, was this satisfying. The next day, the noise was back. So Mum went back to the mechanic, but this time the mechanic couldn't find anything wrong with it and couldn't hear any noise. I never bothered taking the rock out after that, and neither did the mechanic. He had experienced her entitlement firsthand and had heard many stories from other people around town about her. The rock wasn't damaging the car or affecting its performance, so there was nothing that needed fixing. I moved away to live with my dad when I was 16, but before I moved, the clink was still there, tormenting my mother every time she drove the car. I lost count of the number of times she took it back to the mechanic and the amount of money she spent on getting rid of the clink. The last time I saw my mother, I was 23, and she still has the same car. I'd expected the rock to have fallen out by then, but the car still has a clink, but not as loud. Thanks, Tom. Alright, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it. As always, I want to do a huge shout out to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. You should be up on the screen now. I love you all, and I think every single one of you are amazing for supporting the channel in the way that you do. Again, thank you so much for supporting me. And again, if you did enjoy today's video, please do tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below. All of your hot takes, opinions, whatever you think, really, whatever's going on in your life right now, I'd love to hear down in the comments below. Before I leave, I'd also like to announce that I'm going to start doing meme content again on the second channel. I know it's been a while, so click on the Markee head on the screen without the Australian flag behind him if you want to go see some memes. And as always, guys, have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.